Welcome to the Roy Matlock Jr. Money and Business Hours, where he'll help you fix your finances once and for all. To reach Roy, call 615-843-2999. That is 615-843-2999, or visit RoyMatlockJr.com. Now, here's your host, Roy.
All right, we are rolling again and talking money. My name's Roy Matlock Jr., and today we are going to go on the offense and get to saving money, take advantage of all the things that you should be doing. You know, sometimes you're on the defense with your money. I play a lot of golf, and golf is one of those things. The first rule of golf, and I'm 0.2 of a stroke now from being at zero handicap, so I know how to play golf. And one of the first things I always tell people is, if you're playing golf and you get in trouble, the first thing you should do is, first and foremost, get out of trouble. Don't go and compound your troubles. And that's what a good defense does. And the defense is designed in your money to keep you from making mistakes. And if you're making mistakes, we want to fix them. And so today we're going to make the assumption that you've got things in order. You got your defense in order. And here's the main things when you're accumulating money, when you're getting your defense in order: you protect your income. I mean, that's your number one thing. I mean, you think about life in general. If your income's coming in, you got a chance. And so you want to make sure that your income is always there. And you do that two or three ways. One is, when you're on this earth, you are working and you're improving yourself. You do everything you can to become more valuable. So now you got that going. And that's like really being defensive by paying attention and knowing what's going on. That keeps your job intact, your business working, and things like that. We want to grow our income by getting more valuable. So we're working on that. If anything happens to us, there's two things that you should do to protect your income. One is you buy something that would protect your income if you die. That would be protecting it for your family. We always recommend for sure that you have term life insurance. That's the first thing. And now they have products that you can get living benefits. That means if you were to get some kind of chronic illness or something like that, you can actually get that most of the death benefit up front while you're still alive to help you through that time. And then the other insurance that we do to protect our income is our disability income insurance. And so those two things combined with a savings program, you are pretty well setting yourself up. I preach this forever. Buy term and invest the difference. I've always done that, and I still believe that to this day. There's a lot of other things you can do in addition to that, but that is, what you want to do, and you want to make sure your income is protected if you become disabled. All right, now we've got that. Let's go on the offense. The offense is made up of understanding certain things. So we're going to cover that today, like pay yourself first, compound interest, time and consistency, diversification, understanding professional money management. We're going to take advantage of asset allocation. We're going to look at tax planning, where we get the best things. We're going to pick our right kind of our retirement plans and college plans. As you get older, you have annuities. You create an income stream, and you want to make sure that you keep that going to the next next generation with proper estate planning, charitable giving, stuff like that. And so today we're doing that. If you're tuning in, my name is Roy Matlock, and you can also find the show. I've been told many times that I have a radio face. I think it's kind of a joke, but that radio face is also on YouTube. And if you would like to see the radio face and watch us live, go to our YouTube channel. You can just go to YouTube and search my name, Roy Matlock Jr. Money and Business Hour, or you can also get the shorts on our Instagram page, or you can go to RoyMatlockJr.com and get all that, or you can listen to the podcast. So all this stuff, if you want to hear it again, will be up and running. 7 different offensive accounts, or we'll say 7 different investment accounts for different goals. Number 1 is an emergency fund. What is that? That's 3 to 6 months of cash. It helps you go on the offense because that way you can continue your retirement funds and you don't have to dip into them. Number one mistake people have happened to them, or thing that hurt, is they have to pull their money out. All right. And when they don't need to, pay penalties, stuff like that. We got retirement funds. That would be your IRA. It could be a traditional IRA. which is a deductible IRA. You could either put $7,000 or $8,000 into that a year. You could go into a Roth IRA, similar contributions. Those grow tax deferred or tax free. You can do a backdoor Roth. That's where you put your money in. You make too much money and you're covered by a retirement plan. You can backdoor the Roth and get your Roth money put aside. So we've got that. We've got the 401k at work, which could be a Roth or a traditional. The difference is a traditional 401k or 403b is a deductible account. So I tell people, why not buy one and get one free? How do you buy a retirement plan and get one free? Well, you can put $20,000 or $30,000, depending on what your age is. If you're over 50, and actually put over $30,500 in and deduct it on your income taxes. If you're in the 20% tax bracket, you just made $7,500 in a deduction, and you could throw that into your Roth account, maybe a backdoor Roth. So you bought one retirement account, got the tax deduction, and you got one free based on the IRS giving you that tax deduction. And that money that you got in the form of a tax deduction that goes into the Roth, we're going tax-free from then on out. You've got SEPs and solo 401ks for people that are self-employed. You can put up to 25% of your profit into that, up to about $70,000. So why wouldn't we do all these things? We got 529 plans for college planning. We've got UTMAs and UGMA, depending on your state. That's uniform transfer, uniform gift to minors, gets favorable tax treatment. That's money that can be used for anything and gets favorable tax treatment that you can pass on to your kids. You got opportunity funds. Those are what I call taxable funds that you don't plan on using. We put them in usually balanced funds. That allows us to get some growth on it. We don't want it just sitting dead in the bank. We want to have it in something that can grow. We've got non-retirement tax-deferred funds. Generally speaking, those are annuities. That would be one example. You've got life insurance that builds cash value that you can pull out tax-free. That's another example. We've got annuities that give you lifetime income. And we've got funds that could cover you in the event you have healthcare issues or anything like that. So we have all these different ways to fund things, and we're going to get into all of those as we go through the show today, where we're going to get on the offense when it comes to your money, get you saving money, get things rocking in the right direction. My name is Roy Matlock Jr. We're talking money, and we will continue talking as we go into the rest of the show about getting on a savings plan and taking control of your money. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Roy Matlock Jr. Money and Business Hours, where he'll help you fix your finances once and for all. To reach Roy, call 615-843-2999. That is 615-843-2999, or visit RoyMatlockJr.com. Now, here's your host, Roy.
All right, Roy Matlock Jr., segment 2, and we're going on the offense when it comes to your money. It's kind of like when I play golf, try to go on the offense when I'm inside 100 yards. I want to go make a birdie. What we're going to do is we're going to go on the offense with our money, and we're going to start saving and moving forward. And if you want to know the simple answer to getting ahead financially, the first step is taking action to have a plan set up. And I remember back, 40 years ago, I was introduced, got my securities license, and I was introduced to professional money management, back then called a mutual fund. And I just remember setting up my first account where they drafted it out of my checking account. And I always have told people this, I carry cash around. My dad used to carry cash in his pocket. I don't want to get knocked off here. But I mean, I always have enough cash to where, if something happens, I got a few $100s in my pocket. And my dad always used to do that. And then I started teaching that. I said, put some cash in your pocket. Makes you feel better about life. All right, you're never broke. You got $200 or $300 in your pocket and you're feeling okay. And then you want to be broke in your checking account, though. And here's how you're broke in your checking account. You got everything drafted out, and those drafts that you have taken out of your account are paying you. All right, and so we set up an account to pay ourselves. And the way we do that is we set up an automatic draft or a payroll deduction to where if you're broke at the end of the month in your checking account, you're still not broke because you got a few $100 in your pocket. But the reason you're broke is because you paid all your bills, including yourself. You are moving in the right direction. And I started doing that. I was like, you know what? I'm just lazy. The funny thing about things that, nowadays, if you buy something, they're always wanting you to do a subscription. They always want you to do a regular deal. And the problem you got is there's actually apps out there now that will help you get rid of all these subscriptions. Well, the reason that they want you to do a subscription is they know you're never going to get rid of it. All right. That's why they like your Netflix, you're just never going to get rid of it. Well, here's what you will have happen to you when you start saving money and have it automatically drafted out of your account. You just won't ever get rid of it. You'll just get used to it, and you'll get used to putting yourself in a position of moving forward. And so that's called pay yourself first. We want to make sure we have a profit on our work. We then go in and we become a owner, not a loaner. And a loaner invests in savings accounts, earns limited returns. It's stable, but it didn't give any growth, and often falling behind inflation. So we go loan our money to a bank. The bank pays us, if we were to get 4% over a 30-year period, a $10,000 investment would be $32,000 if we got 4. It's not happening anymore at the bank. It did for a little while. But if you're an owner and you own stocks, which is nothing more than owning businesses, all right, it provides a higher rate of return. It has more ups and downs. And if you do it right and you get 8%, which by the way is very, very conservative, rather than having $32,000 in 30 years, you'll have $100,000 in 30 years. Think about that. You didn't have to do anything different. You just had to open a different account up at 8%. And if we go back in time, S&P 500 has averaged 10 forever. There's funds that I've been involved in that has doubled and tripled the S&P 500 that I put people in. And so when you take that into account, you're like, wow, that's a big difference. All right. But at 8%, over 30 years, you triple compared to 4. All right. We then understand doubling periods. So doubling periods is where you get your money working and doubling. All right. So what is the best way to find out how long it's going to take your money to double? It's called the rule of 72. And all you do is you take the number 72, divide any interest rate into 72. It's going to tell you how long it takes your money to double. So if you're sitting right now on a bunch of cash in the bank and you're getting 3%, that means that you're going to double your money in 24 years. You're getting 2%, 36 years. Another way you can look at it, if you have it in something, just a little money market account at the bank, something like you might be getting 1%. It'll take you 72 years to double. So let's take a look at 3 examples of doubling, and I'm going to say over a 48-year period. And you say, well, 48 years, that's a long time. Well, most people live longer than 48, and they usually start working when they're, early in their 20s, if not teenagers. I was working as a teenager. So, 48 years, I'm 64, and I bet I've been working. I know I've been working. I was working when I was 16. So 48 years. Well, if you take over a 48-year period and get 4%, it's going to double every 18 years. $1,000 grows $6,300, and you had 2.7 times doubling. All right. If you get 8%, it'll double in 9 years. You double you doubled 5 times over that 48 years. It goes to 41,000 rather than 6,000. What about that? Same investment, one-time investment, goes from 6,000 to 41,000. You get 12%, which is doable. Every 6 years, you had 8 doubling periods, you got 256,000. All right, so you got 2 people One's at $6,300. The other one's at $256,000. Any difference in the way you operate, the way you think about life? If you got $6,300 in savings, or you got $256,000 in savings, and that's, by the way, that's a one-time $1,000 investment. The rule of 72, you need to know it. Every time you spend money, that money is money that's not invested, so you want to make sure that you are saving money on a regular basis. That's the way that works. We use time and consistency. What does that mean? We start out, all right, so here's our game plan. Number one, we're going to make a decision that we're going to get money moving, all right, out of our account, pay ourselves first. We're going to then understand, become an owner, not a loaner. We're going to get invested in things that can grow. Number three, all right, we're going to understand the difference in letting our money sit and not get anything. I see people that leave jobs, leave their 401k, they haven't looked at it in 10 years at their previous company. If they haven't done that, you might be getting who knows what you're getting. I've even seen people that leave their current job, don't look at their 401k, 10 years later, they call us and they're like, hey, I need to roll over my 401k, but how do I find it? The company went under. I'm like, all right, there we go. Now we get to go figure that one out. All right, and we got that stuff. So you can't even find the money that you didn't even have, that you didn't pay attention to. So that's the kind of stuff we deal with. All right, so now we're using time and consistency. We're going to get started early, and we're going to do something called dollar cost averaging. What is dollar cost averaging? That means we're going to put a fixed amount of money in with the idea that when the market goes down, we automatically buy more at a lower price, less at a higher price, and our overall cost per share goes down as a result of it. This allows us to invest at regular intervals regardless of market conditions. When you're in the accumulation stage, your goal is for the market to go down and then eventually come back up because you're buying automatically at a discount. This strategy will help you manage risk by following a consistent pattern over a long period of time. If you have lump sum cash right now sitting in a bank account, you came to me, I would bring you in over a period of time to prevent sequencing of return risk, negative sequence of return. What that means is you just happen to be the most unlucky person out there. And the moment you put your money, you say, I'm going to get it out of the bank and I'm going to get it into investment. The stock market drops 20%. So we're not going to let that happen. We're going to ease it in over a period of time and dollar cost average lump sums in as well. What we're going to do is we're then going to put all this together into a package. Now, how does this package work? Well, $500 a month for 40 years at 8%, you got $1.7 million. Pretty cool, right? $500 a month, 40 years, 1.7. Now, the high cost of waiting kicks in. If you wait 1 year or 10 years rather than doing it for 40, you do it for 30, and you get started. $500 a month, 30 years is $1 million versus $1.7 million. So it costs you $700,000. That's why we got to get started. Visit RoyMatlockJr.com if you'd like to do a quick phone call, a quick review. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Roy Matlock Jr. Money and Business Hours, where he'll help you fix your finances once and for all. To reach Roy, call 615-843-2999. That is 615-843-2999, or visit RoyMatlockJr.com. Now, here's your host, Roy.
All right, we're continuing on the offense. If you're just tuning in, I gave you in the last segment the keys to getting your money moving in the right direction. The first one is, of course, getting started. Then we become an owner, not a loaner, and that's where we get our money working for us rather than loaning it to a bank. We get it working. We then understand how compound interest works, Rule of 72. We use time and consistency in order to have more doubling periods. And then from there, we go into professional money management, which I'm going to go into that right now. So what is a professional money manager? Well, to begin with, I can tell you who is not a professional money manager. That's the person that spends 15 minutes every couple weeks, maybe, and they look at their money and they think they can outperform people that spend 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, their entire life going out and doing stuff. So a professional money manager is in itself the word professional. That's what they do. Professionals generally do things for pay. All right. To give you an example, I am a low handicap golfer. I'm an amateur. There's a big difference between a scratch golfer and a professional that makes it on TV. All right. I was watching this last weekend, and I saw on the Korn Ferry Tour, the guy started, young guy, and he's not on the big tour. So if you're wondering how good they are, he shot 61 the first round and 61 the second round. That's not bad. All right. That's a big difference between a scratch golfer. And if you are out there and you're trying to do it on your own, good luck. I don't think you're going to be able to compete with these guys. I don't think I can compete with them. I don't try to compete with them. What I do is I join them. That's what I do. I join the ones that I find the ones that have proven over time that they can do well. That's what I do. So what is a professional money manager, and what is a managed account or a mutual fund or an ETF? Here's what it is. The first thing is it provides different things. First one is diversification. So if you've got $50 or $100 or $500, you're not going to be able to go out and buy hundreds of stocks. You can't even buy a share of a lot of stocks if you have $50 or $100 or $500 or $1,000. So what happens is you get diversification. When you buy into a professional money management, you're going to get the ability to have hundreds of companies that your money is going to be spread across. You get professional money management. What do? They watch it, they study it, they research it, they check it out, compare it, they value it as to what they think it's worth versus what the stock market is telling it's worth. I'll give you an example. I've always believed that, value funds are great places to have your money. What's a value fund? Well, a value fund goes out and they buy their profit in the purchase. What is a profit in the purchase? So what they do is they go look for companies that are good companies, but for whatever reason, they're not, trading at the price that they should be. So let me give you an example of a value play. Back when Steve Jobs came back to Apple Computer, one of the companies that I do some business with, they were telling the story that Apple Computer was so undervalued that you could buy the whole company, the entire company, sell the real estate they owned, and you could buy the company in its entirety for $7 a share. So you could go out and pay $7 per share for all the outstanding shares and own all of Apple and flip it to $12 a share if you just sold the real estate. How about that? Could just sold the real estate. You didn't even have to have any technology. You just buy it. It was so undervalued. You could have bought the whole company for $7 a share and sold the whole company, just the real estate holdings they had, for $12 a share. So they bought the profit in the purchase. It'd be like buying a foreclosed house where you go out and you buy something that's more valuable, but it's distressed or whatever it may be. Well, there's good companies out there that are like that all the time. That's what value managers buy. A growth style manager would buy the corner property in the best area of town because it's just going to keep going up. They don't care. They buy companies like that. And what they do is they go out and they search all the time for the latest, greatest, the newest, the most profitable companies, and they diversify you across many of those. And you have professionals overseeing that all the time. This is what a professional money management company does. It allows you to have affordability to be able to get that same management. Typically, the stuff that I see is less than 1%, okay, in management fees that they charge to go out and do all this work for you. Another way to look at it, you keep 99% or more of the return. That's pretty good. You can get involved in it for as little as $50 a month. I have an account, and I call it a spend it or save it account. Here's how it works. You can open it for $250. You tie it to your checking account, and at any moment you can just log in, just like you were on Amazon. The only difference on Amazon, you're spending money. In this one, you can turn around and push a button and say, put in $20. I'm going home tonight. I'm not having my last glass of wine. I'm just going to save the money. And you put it in, and you put in $20, and it's into whatever fund that we choose on that. And I always tell people, what a great way to actually go home at night. You say, well, I think I'm not going to eat out. I'm just going to save the money. Okay, well, go ahead and save it. Just deposit right in your account and do that. Typically, these funds are very liquid. You can get them within most of them that I deal with. You can get the money back in your checking account within 2 or 3 days, and it's very simple. You can diversify it across different accounts, and you can automatically draft it. And as I said, put money in on your own easily like that. So what we do is we combine all of those tools to get you on a plan that will automate your financial independence. So how do we automate it? So step number 1 is we do a review, and we take a look at where you're at. I was with on the phone yesterday with a client, and they had $120,000 sitting in the bank. All right. And we're like, all right, that's too much money in the bank. What are we going to do with it? All right, so we're going to take and do a review, and we're going to look at how much money is actually going into the 401k and that you're investing in. We're going to look at any other tax benefits that we might have. Do you have Roth? Do you have old IRAs? Do all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to go from there, and we're going to set up a plan. And the way the plan works is this. We have the defense, which I mentioned earlier. We're going to make sure the main things are protected. That's your income and your assets, and most importantly, protect your income. All right. As long as you have an income, you can usually make it. All right. But, if you don't have an income or your family doesn't have an income, then that's not good. And I'm going to give you an example, just something that I think everybody should know. I was looking $1 million of 20-year term for somebody that is 35 years old, $60 a month, includes a will and a trust. Why would you not do that if you have a family? That just makes no sense. All right. And so that would give you some idea of what happens. And so if you protect your income, always protect it for your family. It's amazing what I see go on that people can just fix for very little of anything. So anyway, all right, so we're going to protect it with the defense, and then we're going to get on the automation train and go on the offense. That's what we're doing. We're going to automate and implement, execute. That's what I want to do. I want to see execution. And what we do as a company, Roy Matlock Jr. Advisory, we pick the funds, we set up the accounts, we stay in touch with you, and we make sure that you're on track to get financially independent. How about that? It's not a question, not maybe. We know what we're doing, and so we make sure it gets done. A lot of you that are out there, I tell people the biggest reason you're not winning financially is procrastination. So I'm going to give you a chance. If you'd like to speak with one of our advisors, visit RoyMatlockJr.com. They'll set up a time to talk to you, get you on track. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Roy Matlock Jr. Money and Business Hours, where he'll help you fix your finances once and for all. To reach Roy, call 615-843-2999. That is 615-843-2999, or visit RoyMatlockJr.com. Now, here's your host, Roy.
All right, our last segment, and this is going to be you've been accumulating money. We're going to make sure that we put it in the right places to accumulate. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the offense. And I would encourage you to go to RoyMatlockJr.com and register for our webinars that we put on. So I have always believed that given the right information, people can make good decisions. And we do every single month, the second Saturday of every month, we do a client-facing money management webinar that you can tune into. It's at 10:30 Central, the second Saturday of every month. Once you're on our list, you will get a reminder and an invite to jump on Zoom. And if you can't attend, you will get a replay link sent to you automatically. So what if you decided that you were just going to spend an hour and a half a month getting educated? What would it be worth to you financially to do that? Well, I can tell you this. Typical financial mistakes cost $50,000 to $500,000 over your lifetime. So maybe we can help you that way. And you can register for that once you're on the list. We're not going to bombard you, but we're going to keep you informed and give you good educational material. So now we're moving into retirement plans. And so we are working on the accumulation stage. We know what we've got a system to where we automate it. We're getting it in the right types of things that can grow. We're going to maximize as quickly as possible our doubling periods. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a plan. So what is the plan? All right, so let me give you the first plan. First plan, 20 times your income, desired income. That's your first goal. So what is your desired income? You say 100 G's a year. That's my goal. I want 100 grand a year, do nothing money. That's what I want. All right, multiply by 20. That's a good rule of thumb. You need 2 million. All right, so let me give you another idea, another rule of thumb. All right, if you want to have 2 million in 20 years, for every dollar per month you invest, you'll get $1,000. How about that? So if you start and you just take that and you say, well, 2 million is $2,000 a month. How about that? That's easy. All right. And I'll have my 2 million in 20 years. All right. Whatever it may be. So 20 times, of course, if you put more time over time, it'll be less per month. That's because you need to get started sooner. The sooner you start, the less you have to invest to get to where you want to be. But that's the goal. So we set the goal, and then we know that we're going to be there. All right, so what's the goal? 20x. At a minimum, 16x, all right, would be a good rule of thumb. We're going to choose the right accounts. We're going to take advantage of our company match, 401k, 403b, 457, and take advantage of pre-tax and tax-free type of accounts. You have health savings accounts. If you have high deductibles, you can do that. That's another tax deduction that turns into a retirement plan. When you're retiring, put up about $8,400 a year into that. And we're going to contribute regularly to make sure to get as much set aside as possible. And when we turn 50, we can do what's called catch-up contributions. Those are the retirement plans. All right. So then what we do is we start looking. You say, well, we got all these different plans. We're going to do what we can with our, retirement plans, IRAs, things like that. What are other things that you can do? We have what's called opportunity accounts. I call them, funds for something comes up that you got a chance to do something. Had a guy, one of my clients had a partner that he was able to buy out. The rate of return buying his partner out was probably 50%, all right, a year kind of deal. And so had he not had that cash, it would have been harder to do. He had to borrow money, do whatever, pay a payment back, whatever. And so he was able to do that. Opportunity accounts, you may have the chance to, maybe something happens. I got another client that they were able to buy an inherited property at a discount, all right, from other siblings and things like that. So there's a lot of things. So we do that. I typically look for an opportunity account. It's taxable, means it's accessible. That might be a 60-40 stock bond account where you get some growth, but at the same time you get some of it in there that if you need it quickly, you don't put yourself in a position where if the market's down, you can't get to it. All right, so we have that. Another one is cash value life insurance. Life insurance today has become, so much better than it used to be. It used to be just a pure whole life insurance policy, and it, was kind of like a bank account, rate of return with a death benefit tied to it. Today, the accounts you can get have a lot of different options, investment options, but here's the way you look at a cash value plan. I always look at a cash value plan as a different tool to be able to get money. So let's think about it. Your 401k and any IRAs are the most restricted. It's age 59 and a half, and you get the most tax benefits. You get deductions and things like that, or pure tax-free, whatever it may be. A life insurance policy, you can get it prior to 59 and a half. If you die, it has a death benefit, and you can get that money out and remove that money. It grows tax deferred. You can pull it out tax-free. And when you pass away, by keeping it until you pass away, all of the gains that were pulled out from that insurance policy are not taxed. They're part of a death benefit. You can go with as little of a risk as zero, meaning it's only down, only if the market's down, you have guarantees, or you can go full stock market. That's called a variable life insurance policy, where you can do stuff like that. Another place that we see people when they're retiring is annuities. There's all different types of annuities, but what is an annuity? An annuity is this. It's a financial product that is offered by an insurance company. You pay for the price of having the annuity by having different types of guarantees. So there's a cost to it. It's an insurance product. So you're going to pay for it. So what is an annuity? An annuity grows tax deferred. So you can put money in that you don't need, and you will have it grow tax deferred for as long as you leave it there. And you may have money you don't even need, so you just put it there, never pay taxes on money you're not using. It also provides longevity risk riders. What that means is that in the event you live too long, you can buy lifetime income guarantees. Also, you can buy things, riders that will help you in the event that you go in a nursing home, all right, and a long-term care benefit. So how does that work? I have seen annuities that we have access to all of them, where if you put in $100,000 and it's getting a rate of return, maybe a 3 to 4% rate of return, tax deferred, and if you don't use that money for a nursing home, it's your money, it goes to your kids. You can pull the money back out if you wanted it, but should you go in, it'll pay up to $300,000. So that's an example of a long-term care annuity. If you go into an annuity that has a lifetime income guarantee, rather than getting 4% in a bank, you might be able to get 7%, depending on how old you are, and it will pay for as long as you live. If you outlive the money, it will continue to pay. If there's money left over, it will go to your beneficiaries. All right. So here's what we know that retirees like. 77% of them want a predictable source of income. That's why they like Social Security, pensions, and annuities. All right. They can't be outlived. So when we typically set up a retirement withdrawal plan, we have a portion of our money in something that goes along with Social Security that will last for as long as you live. All right. No matter how long you live. And then we have a portion of it that's going to be invested in things that will help you offset inflation. And that's where we go professional money management and stuff like that. You've got fixed annuities. That's basically guaranteed principal, tax deferred growth, and a fixed income. All right. You might call a multi-year, called a MIGA, is a type of fixed annuity, offers a guaranteed interest rate for a specific period of time, 3 to 10 years, very similar to a CD. It'll be higher rates than a CD and tax deferral. You can get variable annuities, and you've got two types of variables. You have a RILA, okay, and you have a pure variable annuity. What is a RILA? A RILA offers some downside protection and upside growth tied to different markets. What are the markets it could be tied to? S&P 500, it could be an international, NASDAQ, whatever it may be. You can put them in. Why do people buy this? This is a growth product with the idea that if something really goes bad, you might have 20% downside protection. So at the end of a 6-year period, say, you put it in for 6. If it's down 20% or less, they make it up, and you get X amount of the growth on the upside. So we do that. A variable annuity gives you all the downside and all the upside, gives you the tax deferral, and it also gives you the ability to turn it into income. And another product that has become a big deal is a fixed indexed annuity. It gives you only upside, no downside, guaranteed principal, and a piece of the upside, and offers lifetime income guarantees. So what we're doing, you say, well, what are the pros and cons of annuities? Well, the pros are lifelong income, tax-deferred growth, principal protection. You can get custom payouts and optional riders. Negative, limited liquidity. Early withdrawals have penalties. The fees are higher than something that is not an annuity. If you buy one, you need to understand what you're getting. As I mentioned, I went through all these different types of annuities. They're complex, so you need to understand it. The idea behind an annuity is to give you lifetime income guarantee. It doesn't necessarily offer inflation protection. That's why we go with more variable or RILAs to do that. And when you take it out, you pay ordinary income tax on it. So it's a deferral plan. Who's best suited for annuities? If you're retiring or you have extra money that you don't need, or you're within a period of time that you expect to not need the money, and you can tie it up for a little while after age 59 and a half, then it's great for that. It's great for people needing reliable income, all right, and someone that wants to have some principal protection as well. So what do? We take all of this as part of our offensive plan of action. So what I try to do when I meet with people and our advisors meet with people is we take a look and we take the person and attach them to the product that makes the right sense so they can get on track to get financially independent. My name is Roy Matlock Jr. You can visit our website, roymatlockjr.com. You can schedule a phone call first with us to find out if we can help you. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.